Asia!
Hey!
Wow! I'm happy. I'm happy from Achilleos' pure joy at that reaction. It's going to be so exciting. I think what makes the Asian region awesome is you have so many different teams with so many different styles, and that's what we're going to have on display in this game. You look at EDG, you look at PaperX, and they look similar, but they have such different ideas.
I mean, the representation is growing, and now you've got EDG here, you've got Boom representing Indonesia as well, so there's just so many, teams over there in Asia that are excited, or players,
Well, these teams have come over here to Istanbul with one goal in their mind: to win the title and take home the trophy. Without further ado, it's time to kick off our event. Day 1 of Champions starts right here.
Abi şu adamı. Beyler hadi hazır mıyız? Haydi haydi. Abi saydı smokelayın. Smokelayın abi saydı. Vurun abi şu adamı. Adam spike kurdu ya.
Tarık. Oğlum kaç kere söyledim sana bu saatte oyun oynama diye?
Pardon baba ya. Şu maçım bitsin yatacağım söz veriyorum.
Peki. Bu maçı bitir sonra doğru yatağa.
Hadi beyler hazır mıyız? Haydi haydi.
Quer ouvir uma história de fantasma? É sério. Muitos anos atrás, todo mundo estava coberto pela escuridão. Havia uma serpente. E ela se chamava Boiguaçu. E essa serpente caçava animais. Devorava todos os olhos. E a cada parte que consumia, seu corpo cada vez mais se tornava mais brilhante. Até que um dia, acabou pegando fogo. E até hoje, seu espírito percorre toda a floresta, em forma de olhos flamejantes. Nós o chamamos de espírito Boitatá.
Então, a moral da história é não comandei mais.
Meu Deus, é o Boitatá, hein?
Yo, you seen Pujon? Yeah, over there. Yo, you good, bro?
I just thought I saw someone I knew.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
What a way to kick off day one. Sassy's acting, I gotta say. I think he has a really long career in acting if he decides to retire from Valorant.
Yeah, that was great. Overall, I think everybody, for the most part, was doing a fantastic job there. So really pleasantly surprised to see that.
I'm surprised by Artis's reaction to the spike throws. He just doesn't care. Man's just chilling out.
FNS in the club as well. Just a gold FNS in the club.
He's just a rock.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, I absolutely love the videos here. I mean, if you guys actually thought that was hype, if your hype level is already at a critical mass, I suggest that you might want to take a seat for this one because it is time to activate the champion stage.
Paper X. Edward Gaming. Leviathan. Team Liquid.
It's just a group.
What a good looking stage and a good looking group as well. Let's jump straight into the map select for this matchup. Achilleos, there's a lot that both of these teams can go there. Both of them have a pretty good map pool.
Yeah, they really do. There's only a couple weaknesses coming into this from the side of EDG that you would say, you know, Haven, probably one of the biggest ones that they would often ban away. But now that you have Pearl there and they have limited opportunities to practice on it, do they take it away? No, they're actually going to ban Bind.
And I mean, that's been such a great map for Paper X, so it's pretty unsurprising that they do get rid of that one. I'm interested what PRX ban because they used to perma split. Instead, they'll get rid of Fracture in this one, which is interesting. It's a great map for them, but same to be said of EDG.
Yeah. Go ahead, by all means. I was just going to say, like, this was an incredible map for them.
Oh, baby! We got Pooh!
Forget
It's
everything.
gonna be amazing. I mean, how can you even prepare for this one? EDG go in and pick it out the gate. Their first international event ever, and Pearl is their first map.
This is insane. This is absolutely crazy. We were
It's so
talking about it
EDG.
in the lead up to this. Pearl's available, LCQ teams, limited time to scrim and prep this map. EDG say screw it. We are so confident in our abilities. We've played this as much as we possibly can, and we think it's good enough.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Paper X respond with here after seeing Pearl being picked right off the bat. Of course, Fracture and Bind are gone here, and it looks like it is going to be the Icebox.
Yeah, Icebox is a bit of an interesting one for this team. They kind of showed some like back and forth on it back at Copenhagen, but they'll pick into it here. For EDG, it's a map that they're willing to play, but I've never really been super impressed on, so I think they are quite favored there.
As far as their win rates are considered, granted, you know, they don't have that many plays, you know, on all these maps, so it's a fairly limited pool, but they have a 73% win rate on Icebox. If I'm Paper X, Haven's available. That's something that right now, EDG, they're on a 55% win record. That's 18 wins, 15 losses. I would have gone for that.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because that map, the compositions that EDG run have felt a little outdated from what other teams are playing. Again, they're very willing to define their own meta, but a bit curious not to see that. Ascent will go away. Copenhagen, that was an excellent map for PRX. So again, it is a little strange that Haven doesn't get gotten rid of there for EDG though.
That's the thing that's so puzzling to me, because, you know, when EDG played versus Onslayers in the grand final, they also banned Ascent away from them because Onslayers was very good on that map. So they're willing to take that out of the pool if they think that their opponents are strong there. And then PRX just go for the breeze. So it's another strong pick for EDG eliminate. But
we got Haven.
It's Haven. It's the last map, and this is not what I would have anticipated at all.
It does make me really happy to see Paper X banning away the breeze there. I think when you're going up against a team that can be a bit of an unknown quantity, it's really good to get rid of that map. It's one where the individuals really do kind of thrive there. So getting rid of that one, heading to Haven instead. This is a map where Paper X can put a lot more into the preparation time. They've shown us quite a few different ideas and compositions around this map. So kind of a mystery for both these teams, and in particular, why is EDG leaving this open?
I feel like they have to have developed something. They talked about that next stage of the team's evolution, trying out new things. I feel like they have to have something new prepared for Haven that completely changes their previous play style in order to warrant this being left open.
Yeah, absolutely. I think overall with this pool, Pearl is that first map. I'd imagine that, I mean, first of all, it's just absurd that that's where we start. But I'm just wondering, what does Paper X pull out here? Because they've always been a team that's willing to be that kind of meta innovator, try things out. Even if they don't quite work, they'll make an attempt at it. And I don't see that one coming, but possible, sure.
We will see, we will see. We're going to take a quick break here so you guys can cool down a little bit from the fact that we're going to be seeing Pearl right after this. But stick with us. Like I said, we're going to go straight to Pearl after this. Welcome back to Valorant Champions Istanbul. We are set for our first match of the tournament. It's time to meet the players from PaperX and EDG.
Show. Jing. Kong. Forsaken. Howdong. Divide. Nobody. Mind Freak. Smoggy. Benkai. After Alex.
It's the runners-up from Copenhagen versus the highly anticipated new kids on the block on stage right here. We honestly could not have asked for a better start at Valorant Champions, but I do want to address, as you guys saw on the walkout, Smoggy, the substitute for EDG, is coming in for Life. Life is not feeling very well right now, so they decided to put in the substitute for this game. And Achilles and Mimi, this is a huge change.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough change to make, and I'm sure very short notice. Unfortunate for EDG, but Pearl, that's our map #1, and it's going to be really interesting because we've never seen this map played yet at this level. And we've already heard, I mean, EDG, they were saying in interviews that at least for Kong, he's going to be playing an agent that he's never played before. I'm expecting something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly something that we didn't anticipate at all, but hopefully this isn't going to be too detrimental for EDG. They like to play with confidence. If anything else, Kong, he knows how to keep everybody jazzed up. If he can keep everyone very much hyper-focused into this, there's a chance that they could come out and be victorious. Life and Smoggy, they both kind of overlap a little bit. Smoggy's most played is Jet historically. Granted, he has not played really any games officially within the last 90 days. It's something around 10 maps that he has been played on, but he has been taking a very flexible role, showing things like Fade, KO, Chamber as well.
I mean, adding on to your point, Mimi, in terms of Kong saying that he's going to play a brand new agent, to give some context, it's basically not Jet, Chamber, Raze, or Yordle.
Yeah,
so just not those four.
Yeah, you'd expect something fresh. It's going to be interesting to see what that is, but I want to talk a little bit about kind of expectations for what we're going to see out of these teams on Pearl. I think from what I've heard and kind of thought about thus far, there's been two solutions. One is you go Neon heavy on this map, you play that Viper, you go in that standard. The other direction, I think, is stick with the Fade Raze. It's been really prevalent in this meta. Bring the Astra out. Her global utility on this map is awesome, and I think we're probably going to see two different solutions from both these teams.
Yeah, we're into the Prime Gaming agent select, and Jing is looking that Raze. We have the Viper on one side, and I guess a Fade coming in for the other. We do, and Kong is playing Chamber. He lied to us. He lied to us.
At least for now. There's a chance.
Can't trust him.
There's a chance we see it later, but he's going to be sticking with the Chamber. I wonder if this is a product of them not having Life in. Maybe the plan was for him to be playing something a little bit different, but because of the fairly last-minute substitution, that just sends him back over to the Chamber.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the B side of this map is really tough without the Sage, and it's not going to be brought out. For PaperX, they do have that Sage in the mix. I think this map will play similarly to Icebox's B site over there, so it's great to have Divide on that role. Fade Raze as well, that's kind of what I was expecting most teams to go with. They have the Astra as well. There's a lot of awesome combo potential with this composition.
I mean, they decided to stick with what they're good at. Forsaken on the Chamber, Jing on the Raze, Mind Freak on the Astra. This is kind of the composition that the agents they were playing, Achilles, that got them to the grand finals of Copenhagen.
Yeah, it's a curious thing. I would love to say this is how I think this is going to play out. This is what the focus is going to be. It was so difficult to say, just given that we have never seen this map, and I'm so excited to have its world debut in competitive play.
And it should be noted, PaperX decided to start on the attacking side of this map. Thus far, I think we've seen it generally be a little bit stronger over on the defense for a lot of teams. So that tells me they have something special prepped on up with these executes, with that raise in the fade going on in. It's a heavy initiator composition, and as always for this team, it's heavy on Jake.
I can't wait to get into this one, and it's time to pitch this over to your casters. You gotta be joking me. It's Sideshow and Bren.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to be saying that time and time again over the course of this entire series to kick things off at Champions 2022. This is it, Josh. The culmination of the entire VCT year starts here today, and PaperX and EMEA Gaming, what a matchup we've got here to really just kick things off.
You couldn't ask for anything more exciting. The debut match of Champions. You've got the debut of Pearl happening here as well.
Yeah.
The debut of Edward Gaming. There's so much new stuff to dig into right now. And all of it mixed up with Smoggy coming into the mix as well. And starting things off, I mean, we're already 5 seconds into the pistol round. And PaperX looking like they want to send things fairly quickly over towards A.
Yeah, make no mistake about it already. See the Prowler, the Boombot all being sent into the A side, but that Viper Orb just stopping them in their tracks for but a moment, and a late lurk through into mid. Making sure that the space is still gained as well. You can see it's going for a bit of a split now into Art. All down for the time being. But the players up close and personal. Yeah, this is going to be a battle being taken. Smoggy! You're getting 3 in the mix. That is just unheard of. They've already locked down just the one extremity. There will not be a spike being planted, not just yet. Left down to Benkai. Now 1v3.
He's worried about a flank, but flanks on Pearl are so difficult. It's a long, long way to push all the way down mid or out from B and come behind. But Benkai's just cutting noise here as well, trying to make the defenders to spread out a little bit on the map. Already though, what a round from Smoggy coming in as the substitute. Picking off 3 with a ghost to start. You can tell EDG have got the talent. Here comes Benkai, gonna have to take a duel against nobody to cross this angle.
He was aware that there was a player ready and waiting, bit of a noise bait. But only around 20 seconds to work with in the round.
And nobody's gone back to check A, and it's just left this angle through A link.
There's enough chaos that's been sown. You're right, Josh.
10
openings
seconds
here. It all comes down to this fight that might be about to be taken.
He's got players all over him, and the reposition from nobody, it's so clean. The ghost headshots coming through there for EDG, and setting them off amazingly to start things out in Champions. This is a team, Brent, that no one really knows what to expect. You've got to think PaperX are massive favourites in the match overall. You know, PaperX are our second place team from Copenhagen. They're always better at every event, world-class team. And EDG, yeah, they stomped the East Asia LCQ, and they clearly have talented players, but there's just still so many question marks, so much mystery, and that will calm the nerves a little bit.
Pistol win sets them off on a beautiful start. Consider the circumstances. Little util combo. You can see that was a seize into the fragment. Off to the side to see if they could catch out one of the players.
And also that Smoggy involved with it too. They're getting kind of involved in these set plays. Clearly hasn't pushed away their preparation too much, at least to begin with.
Players cutting up the angles though. It's PaperX who are taking names, taking weapons as well, working their way into that alleyway. They are contained though. Bit of damage being done. Pulled apart, it feels like, in that middle area, because they know exactly where the positioning is. And even with the Spectre in his hands, okay, he needs to watch for that. He heard, obviously, that rendezvous in play. Forsaken ended up teleporting right to the top side of things. He does have the spike in his hand as well, so
he's going to get a free plant here for sure.
Will be.
But Forsaken, I just don't see a way that he's going to be able to win. There's 0 bullets in the Headhunter. He has to push deep here. He's in a 1v2 where he has no clutch potential due to only having a classic. So being able to get the jump on somebody here and find a timing on an A anchor would make this round winnable. Unfortunately for him, there's nobody anywhere close. Look at the positioning of Chishu and nobody. They're miles away, just ready to pounce in the post plant. And I think this is smart from EDG, not allowing him to get those free 1v1s.
It's not really a safe plant position either. Onto the B side, you can see all the noise that he's making. That's a cleanup.
And both rounds have ended in the same way, with nobody pushing into a clever position, allowing the player to get the plant off and clutching it out. These EDG players are not just all aim, no brain. That would be such an unfair characterization of this team. Nobody in particular has been extremely impressive when I've been watching him in terms of how he positions himself and how he takes fights.
And I couldn't agree more with that.
Oh, and there's Kankang, definitely most excitable player on the team, getting into it already and picking up an operator.
A close position there. Into the pocket has to be cleared out with the Prowler. It's not going to spot him out. Off to the side, this angle, it needs to be watched for. Just a quite a little sidestep. Now to Util. Slow being sent through, a bit of a jiggle peek, but that was a jump peek from Forsaken.
He's so aggressive.
Shot still being found, and yeah, Kankang is going to be unrelenting with the positionings that he's taking. He's going to make sure that he's punishing you. You don't expect those risky plays every game, though. These guys are on top of it all.
Yeah, already on the flank, managing to get past the trademark as well, and Kankang's picking them off.
I mean, an absurd performance. Absolutely absurd performance. Bonus round going to be secured. I was not expecting this whatsoever. You look at the starting lineup as well. They're not playing with life. They're playing with Smoggy in this lineup.
Yeah, a player that hasn't been playing with them, by the way. This isn't a long-time substitute. This is a new addition, but it's Kankang that brings out this bonus round. Basically the only player that had a gun worth buying at all. But he's so aggressive and active. I think the percentage play in those kind of rounds is to try and get one and then drop back so you don't lose the operator and ruin your buy for round 4. But that is not the way that Kankang plays. No. If you look at the
he is going to push you to your limits.
Yeah, he is the most active player that we have at the event. What I mean by that is he takes the most duels. He's the only player in the tournament that we have that by the time you get to a half, he's got 20 kills and deaths combined. He averages 12-8 at the half, and that is just absurd. Yeah. Absolutely bonkers. Of course, the question always being for those kind of players, can they keep it up on the global stage?
That's the question, isn't it?
Listen, that round has given me some decent hope that Kankang is the truth here.
I mean, right now going toe-to-toe with one of our finalists at Copenhagen, Paper X.
And of course, it's early days. It's a map that nobody really knows about. But promising signs, to say the least.
Great showcase. Obviously, this being a timeout being taken by Paper X, working out how do they want to work around this one now, because with Kankang operator in his hands, honestly, the most logical sense is going to be that he's playing towards that B site, that really long sightline angle.
Yeah.
So how do you offset that? How do you play around that?
And I think that's quite difficult with Paper X's comp. You heard the desk talk about it, Mimi in particular, where she was saying there's two different approaches here. You go for the Viper comps, of which EDG have one variation. We've seen other teams, or we're expecting other teams to try different types of Viper comps. Or you run the Raze Fade with the Astra. And the Raze Fade with the Astra is not very good at pushing back the Opera at B. Of course, they only have pistols this round, but that's my point exemplified there. You just don't have the utility across such an open area. And I think that this is going to mean Paper X heading through mid, through A, a lot in this half.
It's a difficult map as well. There's a lot of tight corners you've got to be clearing out. Making sure that you are showing a lot of discipline when it comes to clearing out these areas.
Another little element of this area of the map too, you can see as Paper X try to pop in here, there's so many different trap plays that EDG could run, and once Paper X push down, they can still get flanked through that mid to A connector.
Pivoting, but the trademark's still up. Going to be aware of this one, assuming it doesn't get broken, but there we go, gets off. Okay.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's unlucky. Okay, still, Kankang wishes to take a bit of a fight there, even against better judgment, a bit of a push through the smoke. Howdong getting away with 3 there. And Benkai though.
And you can already see the talent of these players. Benkai was thinking about unleashing the Nightfall. I think that would definitely have been a mistake, but for a moment thought it was winnable. I think for Paper X, it's about this next round. That's what they took the timeout for.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can already see the talent involved. Look at Howdong here, taking the push through the smoke, finds a spray transfer, and then gets onto the third.
I have never seen a team that has more consistent spray transfers with a Vandal than Edward Game. Every single one of these players just feels capable of pulling out some magical moments you only see that's a rarity in a lot of other regions. But
so let's take a look. PaperX, are they able to stop the bleeding here? One of their players up towards A main. Nightfall off the rip to start. Didn't catch nobody.
Flash over the top. Nobody's not supported with it though. It just about fades away. Still Smoggy wants to take the fight. In fact, they're being backed up. Chichu with the spray down. He's grabbing two. Benkai eventually removing him from the fight, but a bit of timing. Game of cat and mouse around the smokes. Forsaken takes away Kankan, removes him from the fight. All up to Howdong, the IGL for Edward Gaming.
Howdong looking to try and spot Forsaken. Knew that Forsaken was lurking through this area of the map earlier on. Still with 3 stars to play with, and Howdong, he's able to get the spray down through the box.
It's going to be one of his targets found. Him versus Benkai though. Stars drop down.
That's a great smoke.
Yep.
Countered though.
If you can force, but he knows where the positioning is for both of them now. The C's is going to be grabbing onto it. Howdong has no audio cues in the mix. Quick little pop into the Astro form. It's going to be the smoke popped up now. Benkai playing so far back here. That's important to the back, trying to spray through this one. He's already got half. Howdong's just going to be sticking this one, and he's got the round.
That's an unbelievable clutch from Howdong. Taking it in a straight-up fight against Forsaken, and then outplaying Benkai towards the end too. EDG are on a roll. This is so impressive. Look at that spray transfer again.
Yeah.
And something that PaperX are so good at is trading each other out in those kind of moments. You do not expect the PaperX players to trade out and be on the worst side of that. They went 3 for 3 in that situation when normally they power through teams.
That's Edward Gaming's play style.
It certainly is.
They are always ready to trade out additional firepower right behind them. Even if 2 of their players go down, they're not scared to commit bodies into the fight. It's the thing that powered them to a lot of their wins in East Asia LCQ.
And look how much PaperX are having to focus on the A side right now. Just thinking about how their composition works, it's only Forsaken prodding towards mid, being that lurk player. Here comes Jingo with a showstopper, looking to try and clear things in.
Rocket in the mix!
What an amazing null command from Smoggy.
Yeah, completely. Just takes away the showstopper, and he still looks down the one angle at Art. Bit of a pop flash play as well, go around the corner. Might even be trying for seconds, but he bides his time. Bit of patient play now. He's managed to push back the offensive.
And EDG with a 4v3 situation.
Oh, the tether.
I mean,
gain.
just all of the info about where Devi is playing.
Top on the half
stuck.
Devi's position is known. It has to jiggle it now. What a flick!
What is that?
Goodbye, Mind Freak. It's a slow field drop down, of course. Nerfed in the patch they were playing out of champs, but I think Kankang's making the agent just look absolutely unbelievable still. Punished in the end, though. Slowly walking forward. There isn't going to be a swing just there. Damage! Oh, it's done. Resurrect is online, a bit of consideration before he lets it loose, but now down to that 2v1. Still time running low, an opportunity for Howdong if he does disrupt this, but no stars to pull off the plans.
He might have an amazing timing here. Can he get there in time? No, not quite.
Puts out one, knows the other one's a default, but it's going to be this double face from PaperX. What a difficult ask. The movement, it's a slight sidestep, a reload.
Look how well Howdong is playing with the wallbang here.
Just trying to make sure he gets those stray bullets off. If he gets even one kill, Smoke laid down, sprays it through. 9 left in the clip, but eventually shut down, and finally a round on the board here for PaperX.
Eventually able to make something happen. And the one slip up there for EDG is Kankang hunting for duels that he doesn't necessarily need to take. You take a look at the replay, they played the ult situation perfectly there. The swing from Chichu is exactly as Jing loses his showstopper, but Kankang goes for another one of those big flick op kills, misses it that time, and allowed Devi an opportunity in to get his resurrect off.
Second timeout for PaperX.
That's absurd.
In the first half.
Burning both timeouts by the time you get to round 7, I think that shows the pressure actually.
Yeah,
the PaperX
scrambling potentially a little bit as well. You think about a team like Edward Gaming coming into this one. You know, no one really expects his team, you know, newcomers to the global stage. First time they're really playing against top competition, up against the finalists of Copenhagen.
Yeah, I think it bears mentioning how much bigger PaperX are as a team than anyone they've had to face so far. EDG have actually done a great job. They stomped their way through East Asia LCQ. They beat Northampton, who went out in groups at Copenhagen. That's pretty good. And they played against 4 other players in that LCQ that had been to a Masters event before. But the rest of the field was somewhat weak, somewhat untested. This, though, is a totally different ball game, and they're stepping up.
Unknown quantities across the board, isn't it? All being played, but certainly.
The other part about that too, Brent, is that EDG haven't had very much time to even prep Pearl. The LCQ teams should be at a disadvantage on this map. They don't look like it.
It's an excellent point. Should not have had much time at all.
EDG's economy under a ton of pressure. You can see that despite being 5-1 up, that single round that PaperX have won has put EDG back onto a thrifty.
Look at these liberties, though, that are being taken. The Viper's pit dropped down in A main, and all the information being gained. He's pushed so deep. They know that mid is relatively compromised here.
Smoggy making sure to get rid of the horn there, allowing Haldon to stay in this tough position.
Double bangs! That's going to be the face, though.
But here comes Kankan. All of this delay from the rest of the team allows him to get a timing.
Just making a bit of noise. That is going to be the kill picked up. Still, PaperX are in control of this mid area. Spike just dropped down. It looks like they are starting to vacate back through mid. Still have control of it. Haven't broken the trademark just yet, but they know it's there. It's been in play for quite some time, and it's up to nobody to see if he can rattle off a couple of shots. The angle's lost at the end of the day. What is that? A flick of the wrist, and Jing removed from the action. One way to punish him.
And now you get a chamber battle in mid. Forsaken with the tour de force. He reads the play from Kankang, but can he read the second player coming from the same direction? Is there any hope here of Chichu being able to get this round on the board? Not after a bit of bulldog spam coming through the doorway. Chichu's given away his positioning.
And Forsaken should be favoured in this fight, obviously, with the tour de force in hand. Easily done.
And PaperX pick up another one.
Okay.
Clean anti-eco, despite the best efforts of Kankan and nobody. Already, Brent, we're seeing this individual talent from EDG.
Yeah.
The flick shots have been absurd, the spray transfers already.
There's a big question for me, I think, as well, coming into this. How were Edward Gaming going to be competing against the top talent of international competition like this? They played against talented players before. They've shut down talented players, but when you're on the global stage, when you're at champs,
it all gets harder.
It gets much harder. Were they able to keep it stepping up? Are they going to still play with this confidence? The answer so far has been yes.
Once more, PaperX looking towards A. Their composition doesn't have answers for the B side of the map. You saw that with Kankang pushing up in the prior on the thrifty. This time he's playing in mid. He realizes PaperX are not going to walk into him. And that is just info for another Kankang peak. Forsaken's under crazy pressure, and he has to rendezvous away.
We're being watched though by Mindfreak. Smart enough to back away still. Works his way into a bit of a deeper angle there off to the side. Swarmed by multiple players. Kangang anticipates it. Does not have any sort of rendezvous setup. But goes for the repeat. This guy is...
he's crazy.
Just insane. But now the util dump onto the A side. Players working their way through. The boombot, the Prowler, the horn being broken down as well. Gonna be that 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Items being taken all over the place. Spike is still going to get planted now onto the A side. And Forsaken making sure that just slight angle over the wall.
This is an aim-labs workout. One. You're kidding me.
The bullets just being spammed out. Bit of distraction. No time for Haldon to work his way into the back of the site. Somehow gets away with 2, but only just now is the wall being broken. Forsaken makes sure that he doesn't lose his confidence. Takes the fight, takes the swing.
And after the 5-round lead that EDG put on the board, PaperX have answered back with 3. 2 of those being gun rounds. So EDG now feel pressured themselves to take a tactical timeout. And really, it's the same kind of thing happening. PaperX are being able to get onto the A side, trade out effectively, and play post plants with advantages.
Get out!
So timeout for EDG. How do they want to address this? In reality, they've actually been pretty good at adjusting their defensive setups.
Yeah.
For 5 rounds, what they were doing was working, so they had no need to shift it. Thrifty came in, Kanghang pushed B, that added a different flavor to the round. This time around, Kankang was playing aggressively in mid off the back of nobody, and I thought that that was a good idea as well. They've identified that Forsaken is lurking through mid and should be a target that can be punished. Forsaken, though, very intelligently playing around his rendezvous and Mind Freak's support, was not punished in the same kind of way that EDG wanted.
Exactly, containing that mid presence that was being showcased.
I think EDG now want to be playing aggressive on A. They tried it once. Off the back of Benkai using his Nightfall, nobody was able to get up aggressively, and Chichu got the 2K spray down. That's the kind of round that I want to see coming out from them again, actually, here. And they've got 3 players stacked up. It does look like they're going for something similar. However, this is the one time Paper Rex go B, reading it after the timeout. What a gorgeous call by Alex or Benkai.
It's the trouble. The map is so big, honestly, that when you commit this many players over towards one of the extremities, one of the main positions, not going to be able to help out the players who are locking down B, but it's up to Howdong. Kankang, see what they can do, teleport back. It is an off-ankle play. Howdong's lucky to get the 1 there.
Forsaken with an immediate trade. And now the question for Benkai is, do we pump the brakes or do we commit to this one?
Slow orb's being sent through. Not many bullets left in the chamber of that one. And that's going to be just a quick tip-tap there of the Vandal at play. Getting sidestep with the movement there, and they're going to be smoking off the trademark, but Mind Freak hears it.
He hears everything.
He knows exactly what's occurring. Does he expect a second player? The answer's no.
And Chichu with another opportunity for a clutch. In the 1v2. Chichu is actually the player left in the clutch scenarios, the 3rd most in the tournament. He is so comfortable in these kind of spots. Wins almost 20% of them for EDG. But in this one, he's got a massive health disadvantage.
It's not exactly favoured. Snakebite sent into the back there of Elbow. Wants to try and isolate one of the fights, but this crossfire that's being set up by Paper Rex, that's hard to break through. Forsaken's able to take contact. There was going to be a swing there as well from Benkai, so very winnable for them. And so far, Paper Rex on a bit of a heater after burning both of their timeouts.
Definitely worthwhile getting those 4 on the board. EDG's aggression on A, though, didn't get spotted. If I'm Howdong thinking about how to IGL this round coming up, I'd be very tempted to go for A aggression again. Paper Rex are unlikely to hit B. I think that was the kind of strat that you pull out after an opponent timeout. You're going to go back to your default kind of setup now. So I want to see EDG react to this, and it looks like they're going for it again. Aggression towards A main, as Jing also gets on the line early.
Double satchel play, flash over the top. That is on a multitude of targets, but his white ball in the way. It's going to offset that aggression once more. This is going on.
Almost a bit of anti-synergy there as well, stuck by Chichu's own wall.
He has to respect the smoke being pulled back as well. Wasn't certain of the positioning, no longer could hold that angle safely.
But there are 4 players here stacking for EDG on A. They know this is going to be an A commit. Paper Rex have just so rarely been going to B.
It's honestly a complete sacrifice of mid-control, isn't it? They've got that prowler's unfortunate. Side of Paper Rex, we're hoping, I think, to just avoid it.
And that's continuous information at the 55-second mark that Paper Rex still have players towards A. If you're planning to pivot into a B hit, I don't think there'd be any reason for you to still be in this area. I think that's good info that EDG can keep 3, 4 players here. These star setups are really cool from Mind Freak.
Everything being dropped down, but not enough done before, ahead of the time, to try and burn down a bit of the fighter's fuel. So that orb is going to be blocking them up at the choke point. So late lurk there through Art.
The question is, which do EDG commit to? Do they stop the site hit or the lurk?
Forsaken's just going to be taking a fight right to them once more. The fight is going to be shut down. It's going to be a resurrect in play. Benkai's making sure that he shuts that down, holds it down still. It's going to be the spike. Has to get planted now with 11 seconds onto the clock, and Mind Freak was capable as well of watching just a deeper position that was being pushed up on.
Nice position given away, and Kankang with the trade early.
Lovely shot as well, positioning gained from the Haunt.
And Jing does not let him get away with anything. Paper Rex have tied it up after being down 5 rounds in a row. This comeback has been nothing short of excellent, and exactly what you would expect from a team as quality as Paper Rex. Not allowing things to rattle them whatsoever, and halting the momentum of a team that, I mean, when we had heard interviews with EDG coming into this, they talked about the fact that they would probably be nervous in this first game. Getting onto a 5-round win streak is massive for them. Now, some of that momentum taken away.
Full stars in play. Oh, it's an entire cluster of bodies are going to be met at the top side of B here. You can feel the utility just being tossed out to the side. Smoggy's in a world of hurt right now. They drop down to his feet, vulnerable on top of it, but nobody, still with the Marshall in his hands. Looking for a bit of a wide swing on top of it. This is particularly dangerous now.
All of these rounds end up coming down to the wire.
Right inside of the smoke. With a Marshall. I mean, up close. Forsaken is low enough now, and the body shot might be enough to do it. No. Eventually finds his target. But a gun has been acquired. Chichu working his way out the back, and this guy, he is a clutcher. He's known for it. Spike planted. Mindfree tries to take the fight as well. Down to that 1v1.
Chichu has the Viper's Pit to work with here too. Worried about Forsaken peeking in from that back elbow position. There goes the pit. How does Forsaken respond to this one? You want to try and get in the pit early if possible.
He has to, but just far too slow. And that's going to be the 6th round here for Edward Gaming. Chichu just too consistent in the clutch. Great decision making as well to isolate the angles of which a fight could be taken with the Viper's volleys coming out into elbow.
Last round
Yeah.
before the switch.
Chichu is in these positions so often. The people left in clutches the most are Chichu and then Shao, Scary, you know, like big names of the clutches. And Chichu has been good for it domestically, within China, within East Asia. That is the momentum you need to give you some hope heading into the final round, into the next half. Can EDG put a 7-5 together here?
Red Bull clutch to start things for them.
Both chambers with the tour de force. It looks like PaperX might be faking a bit of B control right now. The spike's still in top mid. I don't think this is going to be a commitment over towards B. The idea just being to pull the EDG players around. Still 3 of them looking to anchor A. Not biting on it just yet.
Still that presence from PaperX as well, as they're just poking and prodding into the mid area, hoping for players to be working their way to their line of side angles.
Face your fear!
Oh, made an attempt. Okay, well, Nightfall's going to be coming through. That does force out the null command.
And there's still enough time here to just cancel.
Yeah, if they wait this out, Jing is going to have the showstopper, but this is an important fight to take. Kang! You got to be kidding. Tour de force, players dropping like flies, and they know that the position is contained. Finally, no suppression in play. A bit of an exchange there. Bullet for the rocket. It is that 1-for-1. Mindfreak. Oh. He's got a lot to do. Okay.
Mindfreak now in a 1v1 against Haodong. The IGL, is he going to be able to pull out a clutch here?
1 round and a half.
Mindfreak was so incredible at Copenhagen. Is he able to pull out magic again?
Stars available that obviously does not want to go into astral form. He does have his own ult, and that's going to be the wall dropped. Hopefully isolating a couple of fights, but it is mind games on mind games right now between both of these players. They really want to take it.
You do not want to be playing mind games against Mindfreak.
No. Star as well as in position. There's going to be a pull for Mindfreak.
The star on the spike indicates an A main positioning here, I think, for the post plan. But Haodong is still looking towards Secret. He's got the right read if only he commits.
And now onto the spike. It is the wrong read. Mindfreak has played that impeccably. 4 kills in a round for him to finalize this half. And it's evened up for Edward Gaming and PaperX. Absolutely outlandish stuff that we've witnessed here in a Red Bull clutch.
This play is amazing and just gets PaperX right back into it for Eva. What a shot. What a play.
Perfect move.
And Mindfreak managing to get the clutch out the end there.
Players. And you can feel how much it means for the PaperX. The watch party back in Singapore. Huge scenes all around. That's going to do it for the first half. I send it down to the analyst desk to break down all the action thus far.
Thank you very much, Bren and Saisha. I'm back here with Mimi and Achilles. None of us are disappointed, are we?
It's everything I could have wanted more. perfectly tied up at a 6-6 here at the end of it. It's just been action-packed the whole way throughout. Incredible clutches coming through as well. I'm just beside myself with happiness. This is great.
I want to talk about Kung because we didn't really get to focus on him too much in the pre-match, but he is a crazy player. You know how crazy he is. Do you feel like he went as crazy as he normally does?
Yes, and in some regards, a little bit more crazy than he did it in the LCQ. This guy will just re-peak angles that you think nobody should mess with, and he will come up with value more often than not. He's nuts.
Yeah, there was so much trust put in him in that first half. He was so often alone towards the B side of the map. The sets were really cool from Edward Gaming, but I'm interested in what we're going to see into this second half, because again, there's been two solutions to this map. One for Edward Gaming has been that Astra Viper composition, which I think can really thrive on this defensive side. Now switching over to the attack, I'm wondering if they're going to struggle a little bit more, because when you're lacking that Sage, it is really hard to hit into. It makes you have to have an added element of complexity. It makes you have to lean into these splits, which for Paper X they weren't really doing. With that Sage, they could just be super execution heavy. So on this attack, we're going to need to see something different from EDG.
I want to see the Viper Wars, what they can do with the Viper, but I also think that, I know Achilles, you are kind of one sure if 6 rounds would be enough for them as we were watching the game. I think it's enough. I think this is EDG could take this.
I certainly still have faith in this squad. Paper X, they're finding their stride and whatnot. They managed to bring it back to, to close out that attacking half relatively well after, considering how everything started. But I think they still have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I think the Fade Race is going to be really good on this defensive side. Paper X is great at those combos.
Well, let's jump back into game. I can't wait to see what's going to happen, Bren and Saisha in the second half.
Certainly been shaping up to be an excellent series. 6-6 here. It feels like Paper X as well have wrangled back control, at least of the momentum of the map.
I think so much of it can still shift on this pistol round, honestly.
Absolutely.
And Kang, I said he normally has, a ton of duels, the most active player in Champions. He's even more active than usual right now. 13 and 10, over a kill per round by a long shot in that first half. And he's going to be required to open things up here. You don't want to put too much of the pressure on your substitute Smoggy.
What he's going to be facing. Fight potentially kicking off in hard as well. In fact, yep, the players, they want to take it. Not afraid of any sort of aggression from both of these teams. It's very purposeful at that, and look at this, still. Double doors locked down. That's going to be almost a triple face, as well as the players look to swing out and again regain control of it.
That's all 5 players from Paper X fighting in mid. Yeah. Way more than EDG were expecting to have to deal with. And any reactive play into B off the back of the Viper wall doesn't have the spike. I mean, there's just nothing to be done here. Paper X are all over it. Chichu's going to have to be able to pick off Benkai just to start this one.
It has to start here, doesn't it? Slight angle that Benkai is holding means that, all up to Kang with 40 seconds left. They should know the positioning as well, I believe. Trademark was killed off over towards B.
Yeah.
They know that he's lurking deep potentially behind them in the alleyways.
At this point, it's just a numbers game. You don't even mind losing a player early just to figure out where the guy is.
Jiggle, that's a wide swing.
Forsaken's on an off angle.
Yeah, needs to be safe hands though. Shots are actually being missed here, but not a lot of time on the clock for us.
Oh, what incredible patience there from the rest of Paper X. They bled Kang out of his headhunter bullets and then immediately triple-faced him as soon as he started shooting with the classic instead. I mean, just gorgeous stuff. And that, I think, is one of the big differences between these teams, actually, is that Paper X have all of that experience to just learn when the aggression needs to be tempered heavily. Having said that, EDG have been pretty good at it so far this map, but they're going to get tested on the attack side, especially now that Paper X have taken the lead for the first time in the series.
This is where you might start to see them snowball that lead a little bit further. Obviously no spike plan here for Edward Gaming.
This is so fast. Yeah. Edward Gaming have found out where the trademark is, very common position from Forsaken, and just immediately ran on top of it.
They're happy to give them control, it looks like, of the alley. There's roaming around that boombot, just refusing to die. Boatload of information being gained as well, and with the double face, Spectres easy enough to just chew through the bodies that might be trying to approach them. And again, just up to Chichu, who's getting this late lurk in. But the spike drop down, inevitable in terms of the round. At this point, you're just thinking about what to do next on your buy.
Yeah, I think this is a good time actually to take a look at the Viper setup. You can see here how his Viper wall from Chichu is denying information for Paper X and forcing them to play B aggressively if they want to see anything. Chiju would have to pull off a 1v5 to win this round. It's a good start for him, but Jing shuts it down. But this Viper wall that he's using is one of the big things that PaperX are missing on their attack side, because it allows EDG to pick rounds where they can try and lurk somebody up B-long, or put the whole team contacting up behind the Viper wall there as well. And so this looks like it's just going to be the same wall being thrown every time. And if they want flexibility in terms of their smokes on the rest of the map, that's Howdong's responsibility.
This is the buy round now.
And a pretty healthy bonus for PaperX too. Forsaken going to invest an operator similarly to Kanka on the defensive side and playing it in the exact same spot.
Yeah, slow orb towards that choke point just to make sure that they can set up Forsaken. It's a very deep position being played as well. So far, early days for Edward Gaming. In fact, they are willing to give a lot of respect in mid, it seems.
Look at the two duelist players for PaperX, Jing and Forsaken, have so much control over the extremities here.
There's so much space.
I mean, Jing is just getting monstrous information and only pays for it with a single wallbang bullet.
Still down to the minute mark in a round. Does have to be cautious now. Star being dropped, bit of spam through the wall. There's that trademark in place still that hasn't been removed. Trying to do a bit of a pre-fire up onto it. You can see that's a trap play in motion. As soon as they even get a whiff of that being triggered, they try and go for a pull as well, seeing if they can capitalize, take any players down with them. But a fast pivot now into Art as well. Space needs to be gained, and it looks like it is that A split with the fragment off to the side, making sure nobody's inside that smoke.
And it's down to Benkai to see if he can grab somebody. Here comes Devi, super quick behind, didn't check the back of the box.
30 seconds left.
Down to Mind Freak. Smoke on the one side of him. Trying to stay alive here. Benkai to the back as well. That's going to be util dumped into it. The nade to try and push them back. On top of that, the satchel. Spike still not being planted. A fight. Oh, it needs to be taken. Forsaken with the operator. He doesn't want to overstep himself. Benkai's at the back of the side as well in secret. Just trying to deny it. The time is running so low now. Pinging it on the pre-fire angle. Fights are being taken. Benkai. But he just needs to spam this and he wins. He just needs to spam it and he wins. But he's found out.
Ooh. It's a close round, and one that EDG takes away with some very nice mid-rounding. There's another big question for EDG. When the rounds get tough, when the fast plays don't work, and you heard about it in the interview that Yinsu and Mimi were doing earlier, when the rounds get tough, and when the fast plays don't work, do they have those adjustments, those pivots in the middle round? And they did here. They faked a mid-doors push, immediately rotated everybody quickly through Art and took a pinch into A. Played the post plan with discipline. This is some great play coming out of EDG on their attack.
It's good information gathered.
Yeah, that is a fantastic knife lineup. Perfectly catches onto Forsaken. Not only do they know his position, but most of the time that's going to force a rendezvous. Not for Forsaken, though.
He's still disrespecting it, still holding this angle. It was smoked off, but Kang's just lurking all the way through, tries to get the spray down for the 2K, but eventually he's going to be shut down. But it has pulled players from PaperX on the defensive side, leading over towards that B area. To re-clear, it looks like as well from Jing as he's making his way through Art into mid, making sure there's no late load plays over towards A.
Going 1-for-1 with the chamber does benefit EDG. Pumping the brakes here is a gorgeous call from Howdong. It's going to allow him to work off the Viper wall and deny information, especially with that trademark going missing. It forces Benkai to play towards mid doors, and now Jing's got some control over mid. Benkai can rotate back. EDG have an opportunity here to commit to B, but they've got to be quick now.
They have to be fast.
30
Information
seconds
was already gathered prior. That's from Mind Freak. Nice sees over the top. That's onto just one of the players. Almost trying to go for this plan. Benkai. Oh, the angle is there. Wants to take the fight, but the weaponry was just not ideal. I believe just a stinger in his hands. There's going to be this flank coming up into the top of B. There has to be a player watching this angle now, and then you have it. Not quite enough to find the kill, though, and an aid. Oh, that is impeccable. That is perfect, but he moves his crosshair away.
Jing thought he got the kill.
He just assumed he had it.
Whoa, what a kill from Smoggy. And that allows him to deny the Sage Wall as well.
Mind Freak blocked off.
17 health. No shot. He manages to pull off another clutch like he did in the first half.
He's pretty much just already given it up. No attempts to make his way over towards the spike, just seeing if he can take the guns away. Not even getting that though, he just has to back away and save his own rifle in the play of things. 8-8 is going to be the scoreline here. Edward Gaming, and I got to say, I think this is a beautiful time to highlight it, Josh, here. Edward Gaming, it's their first time on the international stage. They're also playing with a sub in the form of Smoggy. Going toe-to-toe with the finalists of Copenhagen.
Yeah, and that is spectacular. Of course, Pearl is a map that we don't have any info about. We don't really know how good PaperX are on this map compared to the competition. But I can tell you that PaperX look prepped, and they've got some good ideas, and they're playing the info game well, and EDG are still managing to find opportunities to outplay them. This is dead even currently.
EDG, they're a last chance qualifier team. They shouldn't have had a lot of time to prep on this map, on Pearl. It's the opener for us, and clean as ever. That's Kangkang. Easily a bit of a tip-tap there at a rifle. Spam as well, going to be supplemented with the help of his teammates. Nade over the top, and a satchel. We use Jing. Of course you want to take the fight again. Unexpected. Forsaken. Oh, you're taking some liberties with that one, Devi. Still safe hands apparently with the Sheriff in his hands. This is a half by a reminder. PaperX are quick to answer back.
And this could quickly get crazy. Devi now with a res online. There are two bodies here, but both in areas that it should be very difficult to get reses off. If you just wait for EDG to commit to a site though, one of these bodies at least is going to open up.
Interesting wall.
Yeah, just cuts Devi off. I think Devi just wants to play quietly here. Just chill, play off the back of your ult. But Jing, as ever, going for it.
Showstopper's online. Does he want to use it? The answer is no, saving it for a rainy day because the Thrifty is in their hands.
What a round by PaperX. Just showcasing that they have talent in spades as well. Both of these teams have a wealth of it. Jing, this repeat onto Kangkang is absurd.
Yeah, it's demonic.
Kangkang's got the most kills in the server at the moment at 16, and Jing is so unafraid. Of course, because he's Jing. That is what you love to see. Oh, for players like these, what a joy it must be to be back on the biggest stage in Valorant. It feels like they were only just off the stage, PaperX. But you get that itch, it's got to be scratched. PaperX as well have not had to go through groups at any point this year. They were able to just go straight into playoffs and do fantastically in both of our Masters tournaments. Now they are in, I would argue, the toughest group that we have here at Champions. Yeah. Especially if EDG is going to be playing like this. And it's going to make for some fantastic games. But it's also going to test PaperX. Nobody is safe in groups like this.
I don't think so. Not when you're Champions, obviously 16 teams, all coming together.
Bristling with skill.
Capstone of the year, isn't it?
It really is. And at the moment, PaperX managing to take that Thrifty and spin what should have been a 9-8 lead for EDG into their favor, pushing EDG back onto a Thrifty of their own. So in effect, that's a 2-round swing right there.
It's massive. It's one of those that you look back at in the VOD reviews and it's that pivotal round that changes the entire map.
You can argue that's a 3-round swing. It goes from 9-8 to probably 8-10, as long as PaperX are able to stop a Thrifty on the other side of things. We haven't really seen this Viper Wall getting a ton of value. Maybe this is one of the rounds, but the trademark...
That's going to be the set play! The trademark, he gave Jing all the information, he double satcheled over the wall!
What a demonic set play!
You've got to be joking! And I gave all the information for the kill.
Get that one in a highlight reel immediately. I think Jing's been on TikTok.
Yeah, I am speechless at that one. But that's the kind of preparation, obviously, that you can come into a map like this with when you are PaperX. Not all the time in the world off the back of Copenhagen to think about how you wanted to handle this map.
Benkai did say at the end of Copenhagen, we're always going to keep it fresh. We're still going to be playing aggressive. That was a PaperX special. And Jing follows it up, taking out Kangkang, removing the tip of the spear here, takes out Nobody as well, cleaning things up. Jing had a bit of a slow start to the map, but now he's really fired up, all cylinders.
It's so important, I think, when you're playing against a team like Edward Gaming. You have to keep up the confidence.
And Jing's just messing with him. Jing is just messing with him for the Devi flank. Ooh! Haodong reads it.
These are not players you really want to be messing with. Even Haodong eventually shut down, but There's mechanical ability in spades on either side of both these rosters. But this is the lead that we were talking about.
Show me that replay and try it in your own ranked games.
That is
what a gorgeous angle.
And it was off just the slight trigger there of the trademark.
I'll tell you what, if that is a heavy B hit, you could easily get 3 with a setup like that. And it makes the Viper wall, it kind of neuters the Viper wall. This time, possibly for the first round, Chichu choosing not to commit it over on B.
Looks like a faster play though, that's going to be no command and that Nightfall. Scatters through. Gonna get a 1 tag. Of course, disrespect to being shown still by Forsaken, but he's gambled onto the wrong angle and kills are being found. One after the other. Benkai, hiding behind the wall. This is a position that he's been playing time and time again, but does he have the teammates to try and bail him out of it? Bit of a spam angle. Things are there to try and line it up for him. The answer is yes. PaperX are coming through with the gun. Still the spike is planted, but damage more than done with the Resurrect online. It's now the 3v2. Have to play inside of this pit. Just spam it out, you might get lucky.
140!
Stray bullets coming through. Chichudo now he's repositioning, moving his way through a tap of the spike. That's going to be, I believe, the pull to offset that. The back of their minds, they know that nobody's going to be onto this one and still taking the fight once more. Another tap, the smoke in play, and what a clutch in the end of it.
With a Vandal inside the Viper's pit.
Just breaking all the rules, isn't he?
Every shot magnetic onto the head from Chichu there. And that, I think, just showcases how strong the ult is, too. Doesn't matter if Chichu is in 2v3 with 10 HP. 1 bullet, I think, was all that he had. Two bullets left. But that is the final bullet in the clip that, again, magnetically finds the head of Benkai. Chichu has been keeping them in this game. Kang opens it up, and Chichu puts it to bed right now.
It's a very fast round off of largely pretty slow play, but look at this. All this positioning being gained up B long now by the defenders.
And this is the conditioning. EDG don't want to go towards B because of the trap plays, because of the trademark. Forsaken almost punished there.
Very low.
Love this Viper smoke as well. All of the Viper utility being used in combo. And if you use the trademark on B long, it's not there at mid doors. And that is what EDG have decided to give it towards.
Angle still being watched though. Fight still needs to be taken. Mindfreak with that pull. Vulnerability, I think, onto Chichu. Tries to go for the wider swing, but that is great crosshair placement.
Those are the kind of fights that EDG winning in their online games where they just force the battle, but PaperX good enough to punish them for it. And now PaperX have infiltrated everywhere. Jing, Benkai, all the way into the attacker's spawn.
Yeah, this is chaos just being sowed.
But that's the way that EDG like it. Thrive in the chaos.
No charges.
Want to try and re-clear because obviously they're wondering,
30
okay,
seconds
are they on A,
left.
are they in B, are they in mid?
Haidong has a timing. Haidong has a timing to be able to get this plant down. And Smoggy could have tried to go aggressive, look for a pick.
This is a very unorthodox plant location as well. Just underneath heaven.
Smoggy's got a great idea here. He knows that Devi could be around there.
I'm wondering now. I think Devi is aware. I think he might have just seen the edge of his model. Double satchel play across. Tip tap there. Reset of the aim is good enough, but he is being flanked, I believe, from behind. Player from under there. Devi actually going for the wall to try and lock off one of the angles. It's a double face in the end. Mindfreak does win out that fight, and now this wall is causing all sorts of issues. Eventually, it will fade away, but the spike is being stuck. And again, the angles watch. Mindfreak, this guy is a demon when he's on the stage.
I had questions about Mindfreak's performance from Copenhagen, honestly, Brent. Mindfreak had poor performances at the global level for every LAN that he'd been to before Copenhagen. And then he turned up and he was talking about how much more seriously he was taking his Valorant performance. And I don't think it was a one-off. I think Mindfreak's incredible play towards Copenhagen seems to be replicating itself again in this map. He's kept up that pace magnificently with a 4K in that round, the ult to clutch things as well. A PaperX are dragging a lead, kicking and screaming away from EDG. If they're able to put away this anti-eco,
Flash over the top. Spam comes down with the Vandals. PaperX, they are going to be winning this one out. The reset of the aim. Benkai, who needs a bit of help surely from the rest of his team. Down to 15 health. And he is skipping and hopping away, but not quite. Warbang takes him out. 2v2 and a fast flank from Devi right behind them.
It's so quick. The Paper Rex players are flanking instantly on a map this large.
You don't anticipate it. You don't. Time has been played off, but he has slowed it down. He's not going to be taking the fight to them. Just wants to try and contain.
There's a lot of discipline for Forsaken.
Jiggle and attack on that plan as well. They are looking to see if they can force out these angles. That is the one-for-one fight. Just being missed. A whiff from the bullets. Chichu. Oh, he wins it. What an important round as well. Would have been map point.
It's EDG with a thrifty conversion off the back of Chichu clutching once more. Chichu is so comfortable in these clutch positions, but that never should have been given to him. He baited out a swing from Devi and just dodged at the perfect moment to throw him off.
Yeah. And
can't pop off. Go get it, my son. Global stage, why not? The finalists of Copenhagen getting brought to round 22 here, and you still couldn't call it. Paper Rex gathering all of their players up towards mid, expecting to go for some kind of crunch, but instead EDG, it's one of the first rounds where they pour players into B.
It's a fast play. Star still being dropped down. That's going to be a pull to disrupt it once more as they hit a plan, and that Horde has not been dealt with. An easy spray down for Forsaken. The players lit up like a Christmas tree. Nobody's still trying to deal a bit of damage though in the midst of it. See if he can turn the tide of the fight. These smokes are causing a lot of issues for them. One popped up just to see. There's a gun in play. That's going to be picked up, but now they know the positioning, but works his way around. That's Jing again, causing all sorts of mischief in the play. Nobody sprays him. That's 4 kills in it for him now. 18 bullets in the clip. Position going to be revealed. This is a warbangable angle.
The horn didn't reach.
It didn't, but he's still slightly aware. Too many angles to watch for. Devi should be favored. 125 health, and he knows the positioning of nobody.
Nightfall to play with. If nobody thinks he has a moment to unleash it.
30 seconds left.
This one shot will do it. One shot is all it takes for Devi.
And he gets redemption for the previous round where he should have been able to put Paper Rex onto map point. Finally manages to do it himself. 12-10 the lead here for Paper Rex. And the fast play, this is one of the first rounds where we've seen EDG go for a fast play. And it did get countered. Nobody did a great job of being able to bring it back into a 1v1, but the haunt through the Viper wall, how quickly Paper Rex were reinforcing those B-side anchors. They had the read.
Just a slight miss on that protocol, I think, of who should be destroying the utility that comes through. But again, another fast play is being made. That's a Nightfall through a main. It's counter play as well. It is a fake. There's not too many players. Bit of whiffage in play at the end of the day. It's Edward Gaming who are coming out on top. But now they have to deal with this one. Penkai. Oh my goodness, they just about see him. Either his feet giving him away or what, I'm not too sure. Down to Mind Freak, and this guy has been capable of real scenes before. But believe in him. You can have A-side, mate. We're not going to be dealing with you anytime soon.
They've left Chichu here to cut off the rotate.
You're going to be hearing this.
But what happens in a 1v3 is that Mind Freak is actually given this opportunity to make it a 1v2. If he's aware that somebody could still be lingering, doesn't even think about it, and Chichu's gamble pays off. 11-12, one away from overtime. And what a bizarre round that was, Brent. And it knocks the Paper Rex economy back down onto a rough 5. Look at how this one played out. They fake the Nightfall into A. Counter Nightfall comes out as well. And Paper Rex decide to push into mid, anticipate. There can't be that many players in mid if they're Nightfalling A. And instead, everyone from EDG is ready to collect the crunch. What a massive advantage EDG have in this final round. Big ultimates online, huge economic advantage. This should be an OT map.
It really should. Expectations out the window, I think, for where we thought the map might be going. Not many people, I think, would have predicted Pearl as our opener.
Not at all.
The force going to be unleashed.
Only held on towards mid, and Paper Rex has been getting aggressive. So I like this passive positioning. He dodges the Prowler as well. And now, as the IGL, telling the rest of his team to fake with the Haunt over towards B and actually bring their players back. Look at how aggressive Paper Rex are again, though.
I think Edward Gaming are aware, though. Adam's going to be calling that it was a deep prowler.
I mean, he doesn't realize this time.
The timing is absolutely everything here. Right in their faces, a fight being taken, and of course your favorite there with a stinger. Bit of an exchange of weapons as well onto the ground. That's going to be an upgrade for Benkai. There with the C's, but at the end of the day, they do have that positioning, and time is running so low now. Down to 40 seconds.
And look how Paper X go from being extremely aggressive up in mid to abandoning it completely. They can play with the time, with the player advantage. And EDG have to worry about all of these spots. They had everything to bring this to OT, and suddenly it looks like it's slipping away from them.
It's turned on its head, it feels like, but with the Viper's bit down, there is a potential opportunity. Tap of the spike, but time is running so low on top of this, and Forsaken, that tour de force from earlier. Well, it's coming in handy. Spike dropped outside of the pit, you can pick it up, you can try and blind it, but your position, it is known absolutely everywhere, and there is not enough time on the clock. You have secured yourself in quite a pickle, young man. 13-11, that is the scoreline, and Benkai can't believe it.
It is Paper X that managed to come away with the win on Pearl, but I gotta say, this was a smart pick from EDG. We'll only tell as the tournament goes on whether it's them that are good on the map or whether Paper X maybe, you know, aren't as comfortable, but I was not expecting map 1 to be this close between these two teams. I think Paper X have showcased that they have the talent and the awareness, the strategy to be able to contend with some of our best teams. If they can keep that up over the course of the series, it's still winnable. Listen, even if they lose, I think that this has been a spectacular opening showing.
I mean, when you consider the circumstances,
They're playing with a sub.
They're playing with a sub. Still, bringing it to the distance almost.
How different it could have maybe been.
Absolutely.
Paper X gotten away with one there, perhaps. Some awesome moments from the EDG players, but Paper X leaning on that experience, leaning on very good calling by Benkai on a brand new map.
We could honestly see the series still go the distance, obviously, in this best of 3. Our opener here for champs.
Yeah, we've got a very good map for both teams coming up next. Icebox is going to be a slapper. Both chambers fighting, normally Jets on either side as well. What a way to open up champions. That map was a delight.
Yes, certainly it was. I mean, going the distance, I think, as well. The confidence that the Edward Gaming players are showcasing has been second to none, and I'm so glad they've come and brought the battle to a team like Paper X as well. Yeah. We go to a short break on the other side of things, of course. Our analyst desk taking down and breaking down all the action, and they're going to set up that critical map number 2, so don't go anywhere.
Push it, work.
Angel, and everyone on this squad stepped up. I liked what they showed us in that first half on that defense with their double controller composition. I think PRX really had to change on the fly. And there was a couple rounds to take a look at here, and the first was just how PRX was playing on this attack. Their executes were beautiful, particularly when they were playing with this Sage. Really fast to claim space, get themselves onto these sites, and EDG I think sometimes struggled to adapt, but in the second half, it was different. It was very much defined by the mid control.
Yeah, just wanted to have basically a chokehold around that mid control to make sure that they can just constantly try to funnel people into their positions. But I mean, PRX, despite the fact that this map is so big, you can tell that it's well versed for them. They're well aware of the rotations that are coming through from EDG, because when they have these deep rotations coming in from behind, they're perfect. They're making sure they have somebody poised. They're expecting somebody to come from that deep flank.
Yeah, and I think it is really cool as well, because both these teams had a very good understanding, not only of generally what the map identity is in being defined by that fight for mid. We saw that evolution throughout the second half. EDG was fighting there pretty much every round, and PaperX kept on throwing new ideas to be able to fight that through, but also for what works for their individual compositions. You have to play a different way if you're running that comp that EDG had, or if PaperX had, and both teams showed us those ideas.
Yeah, at the end of it, I just love that this really came down to the wire. We almost got ourselves into an overtime in the first map, first time ever seeing Pearl, and so many of these rounds were decided by thrifties and clutches, sometimes thrifty clutches, and it just shows that these teams are able to fight and operate at a very similar level. And as we move back into much more familiar maps, things that have been played before, I'm expecting it to get even more tight-knit between the two.
I mean, you can definitely see why EDG picked that map. I'm glad you guys both mentioned some of the crazy rounds, because we have one right here to show you guys in our Verizon high-speed moment of the match. And this was just back-to-back 3Ks. I think this is what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off with Kong Kong finding an absurd 3K here with that tour de force, but it comes back even better from Mindfreak. We knew this guy for the clutch at Copenhagen, and some of his big performances towards the end of the first half, this round in particular, winning out on a 1 versus 4, is what brought PaperX back into things, gave them that momentum to go into the second half and be able to close.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wild. There were so many times, we should say, that we changed, because we were trying to figure out what is the moment going to be, what possible round do we go for. That was the one that we landed on, but we had to alter it like 5 times going throughout this, because there were so many high-speed moments that could have qualified.
Yeah, they were indeed. But before we talk about Icebox, let's take a look at our Aim Lab shoot-around. I believe we have Forsaken right now as he's warming up here on Aim Lab. And I do want to say, I think one of the reasons we respect PaperX so much is that in those chaotic times, they play with a lot of discipline as well. And I think, Mimi, once EDG, they have more experience on that stage, they get a little more refined. That discipline is going to be the difference between losing 2 or 3 or maybe 4 thrifty round and actually just winning that map outright.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have made comparisons between these two teams, saying that PaperX is kind of a more refined version of what EDG shows. I don't think that's necessarily fair, but we see some of those moments. We see that aggression, but we also see these really tempered setups from PaperX. But one of the most exciting things about this game is, despite the changes to Chamber, we again had a crazy Chamber head-to-head. Forsaken was very much kind of defined by this role in the past, and I really love the way he played that agent on this map, particularly on the attacks. It's similar to PaperX on Haven, where his lurks do a ton to set his team up.
The first bloods as well.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to dive in for. You know, Kong Kong loves to get aggressive, especially whether it doesn't really matter if he's playing on attack or defense. He loves to go push an angle. He knows, okay, I've got a little bit less room to work with now that my TP range is reduced, but he's still making it work, and he's still managing to come up with huge value for his team.
Yeah, and on that defensive side for Kong Kong, there's a lot of weight being put on him, because he is very often that sole anchor towards the B side of the map, holding that space down completely alone, generally putting his trademark towards one side, sometimes mid or sometimes towards B, and varying his setup. So you have to be performing, you have to be getting those first bloods, getting out, setting your team up for the retake, and he did a very good job at it.
Yeah, let's talk about the next map now. Familiar territory, finally. We've seen Pearl. It's time for us to move on to map 2, which is Icebox, and this is PaperX's pick. I do just want to quickly talk about Smoggy, because obviously he's standing in today for EDG. He has played a bit of Jet, Achilles. Are you expecting him to just slot in what Life would have played here?
Like I said, that's his all-time, if you look at it, that's his all-time most played, but it has been a considerable amount of time since he's been playing it. He's been going for a bit more of that kind of hyperflex role, playing smokes, playing fade, etc. I'd be really curious to see if he does go for the Jet, because it's also in the wheelhouse of Kong Kong. So maybe they can have him take over the Chamber position and then shift Kong Kong to a duelist.
Yeah, I think the questions around composition are really heavy on this side of EDG, but for PaperX as well. In the past, they were playing the Fade Jet composition here, something not a lot of of people do. And we have such a strong Opera on the other side. You're losing out on that Silva, on that drone, on some of that utility that's really good at shutting down. So I'm interested if there's any changes.
Yeah, we're into the Prime Gaming Agent select here. And so far, everything it looks like, yeah, Smoggy's just going to step in right into that jet position like we expected.
Yeah, it's looking bog standard for both these squads. A lot of teams, particularly in NA, have started to move to KO on this map since his buff is kind of that second initiator, but neither of these teams will go in that direction, and I think that is solid. This Fade comp for PaperX has worked in the past. The way they use those cats on the attacking side to clear space, and also on the defense to kind of make up for the lack of someone besides that chamber to really hold down the mid control is super nice. On the other side, though, it's kind of comfort. It's standard for EDG.
Yeah, I mean, double duelists coming out here for the side of PaperX. I think that they're just going to be looking to very much push the pace a little bit here.
Yeah, I think also Devi is the one that plays Chamber here, right? Which is something that we don't see on the other maps. I think we're so used to seeing Forsaken. But Mimi, what do you make of his Chamber?
Yeah, it's been good in the past. Forsaken really only flexes when he's playing that lurk, which isn't always that same style that we see out of Devi. He often is. I mean, you said the two duels. He's oftentimes playing it in a role just like that, where he does get quite aggressive with his team on the attack. On the defense, he's really flexible because you do have that Fade to help with the mid control.
Yeah, I mean, this is also talking about PaperX. If they win this, they're going to be moving on to the next upper bracket of this group, which means they'll play the winner of Leviathan or a Team Liquid. And we spoke about this in the pre-show, but you don't want to be in that lower bracket in this group, because every single one of these teams in this group has the potential to make it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get to see all four of them play today. You know, what with that coming up as the second series, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So you want to be staying in that winner's bracket. Everything to play for here.
Yeah, let's jump into Icebox right now. Throwing this over to you, Bren and Saisho.
Thank you very much, Insu. Yeah, we're going to be getting into the action very, very soon here. And Icebox is one of familiar territory, as the desk has already mentioned as well. This is where we get to see how Edward Gaming going to be doing up against PaperX on a map that they are very familiar with and they are very comfortable with.
I think the big question heading into Icebox is, did Pearl make EDG look closer to our finalists from Copenhagen, or are they actually for real? Forsaken getting pushed away by the drone. Start goes off, but it's Smoggy.
Early aggression, how do you come up with two? And he wants a bit more. Fight still being taken, but that's going to be the right click and play. Chichu eventually dealing with him. A nice and easy trade.
Smoggy is a pistol demon. He did the same thing in round one of Pearl. Ran forwards, got 2 kills, 3 kills in fact on Pearl. Instantly with the Ghost.
At this point, 2 players remaining, left scrambling a little bit, I think. If you are PaperX, you can see Benkai now forced to re-clear out through kitchen. Watching for that mid-push because he's been compromised for quite some time.
Look at how good EDG have been at pumping the brakes when they get into a man advantage situation on the attack side. They did it on Pearl, they're doing it again here as well. Just take a moment, pause, make the PaperX defenders spread out around the map. They'll set you up better.
A lot of damage done at the end of the day, but the kills returned for EDG.
And it's another great pistol round unless Mindfreak can pull off a 1v4. It just doesn't seem doable. Maybe if Haldon gives him a fight.
Yeah, not quite. Intelligent play, isn't it? Just a quick little peek, jiggle for the info. Now crossfire setup, so.
And of course, Mindfreak worried that these players are just baiting him, worried about a flank coming through. Kangkang is there, but a long way away. And nobody's good for it. Shuts down both of those stragglers left alive.
Smoggy in the pistol round again, Josh, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I went crazy with it in terms of the pistols. And honestly, getting off to a nice early lead, something to get the momentum going for Edward Gaming, I think bodes well in this map.
It definitely, absolutely does. The lack of Life I thought was going to hurt them on this map, because Life is their jet player. Smoggy hasn't really been playing jet recently. They don't have the same agent pools, at least on face value. Smoggy looked pretty good there just on the pistol. Not that it required too much of, you know, the jet play style.
Sure, that prowess, not really being flexed really, but still shots were found.
Kills are kills at the end of the day, aren't they?
Yeah. And they have bought into this one with 2 rifles. You can see that Kangkang and Smoggy do have that in play. That's one of the head of the bullets, just not taken out in a double swing. Bit of run and gun, obviously, in play there when you got the Spectres. At this point, it's about making sure that you don't lose anybody else if you are Edward Gaming.
Spike planted.
Yeah, you want to try and keep this as clean as you possibly can. Ardong, with a pistol, shooting the body.
You are literally reloading, son, because of that.
That is
bad manners costing you your life.
Okay, Kangkang's still got it under control. They're not getting punished for it particularly. And Haldong, of course, only losing a Ghost, not too bad. But I think that shows us a friendly rivalry going on here within the APAC. Head to head.
And these two teams, you might think as well, being from roughly the same region, they might be practice partners. They actually haven't played each other in quite some time.
And I don't want to get it wrong, these guys don't have beef with each other. I mean, Kangkang was talking about how much he respected PaperX coming into the tournament. Said it was PaperX getting to the finals of Copenhagen. He said, as an Asian, it was an achievement that made me feel extremely proud. There'll be a lot of pressure and nerves for us to meet such a strong team for our LAN debut. I mean, you can tell that Kangkang really does respect what PaperX have done in the past, respect the players as well, but always time for a cheeky...
Sure, a bit of confidence,
bit of body shoot.
Show that you're not scared of the finalists.
Exactly. It just helps remove all the nerves, doesn't it?
I think a conversion here of this bonus round for EDG would be fantastic. Because again, bring up the same question that we did at the very beginning as well. Was the first map close just because of Pearl, because of that unknown quantity, or can they do it on a map that PaperX are particularly good at?
Jing is very aggressive up here on A, but it looks like the spike is heading over towards B. PaperX is very familiar with this kind of play, but Forsaken making some noise here. There's two EDG players.
Taking a lot of damage, but the angle's still being watched.
Baited in.
Yeah.
And that's a nice player advantage to be able to cook up. Haldong still left behind on what is going to become a strange late lurk. And on the other side of the map, despite not having many players here, PaperX have still denied the plant. That is unlucky for Mindfreak.
And I love this proactivity. Already taking the back of the side as well, pushing right past their own Viper wall here. Risks are being taken. And they're being rewarded for it. Eventually, though, that is going to be the trade. You can see the Jing was able to catch that one, and Chichu well caught with a util out in his hands.
But not getting the plant down has cost EDG here. Haldong is on the latest lurk of his life. He spent all of that time, Brent, just trying to pick up a Phantom.
And not enough time left in this round to really do too much more. It's going to be the double face. Easily dealt with, and it was looking so good, honestly. I thought for a moment the game plan from every game was to try and fight them in their spawn, you know, push past that Viper wall.
But it was only nobody that pushed through. It might have been great as a coordinated attempt. And listen, it's still a decent bonus round. They take two away. Here's the replay. Divine just being able to pick up those stragglers as they kind of just contested one at a time. Wasn't particularly coordinated once they fought at the end of that round. But EDG, like I said, it was still a bonus round. They've got 5 rifles coming into this. So now we get to see possibly just a single coordinated A push. The Viper wall going down at the beginning.
Not destroyed, you have to expect somebody's push. When that goes down, kills are being found though, and yep, there you go. Dealt with. We'll jump up there onto the box, gives Kangkang the angle.
And if you were wondering at the beginning of this game, were Forsaken and Jing just going to run over EDG, there's a round for you that answers the question. Taken down instantly by their counterparts, Kangkang and, in this match, Smoggy. And I love the fact that they just pump the brakes every time that they get a player advantage. Yeah. I think there is so many new teams to the global stage that will push an advantage as soon as they get it, without taking a moment to breathe.
Not willing to slow it down.
Never willing to slow it down, and that really was a concern for me with EDG, judging by how aggressive their players are.
Yep, that's how they played.
But I think they're looking good here. They're just making sure that every advantage gets converted.
It was said as well, before it was rumored, it was said in the interview we saw prior as well, that EDG really did get tested as well by teams like Exet Optic.
Scrims,
yeah, push them to improve. They've made radical improvements in that short amount of time that they have been here.
And they said they knew what the next step of their game plan would be. I think we're seeing it right here.
I think we're seeing it. Because there hasn't been this nuance before. When you watch their online games, if you're a fan of EDG, if you're watching that East Asia LCQ, you are seeing a step up, I think.
Yeah,
despite the fact that they're playing with the sun.
Yeah, that's the impressive part, isn't it? And PaperX just forced to save in this round. Haldong had a lurk play going, actually, up towards the top of Tube. He just never got an opportunity to go for anybody. And now takes a peek into Divine, goes down, but that same kind of lurk play up through Q could be a possibility. Look at how Smoggy just jiggle peeks that and is instantly looking for the player supporting Jin. This showcases to me that they understand how the top teams in the world are going to play. It's so easy for a team to forget that there's always going to be someone ready to support Jin.
Ready to bail them out.
But just noticing that there's going to be a trap there and being aware of where the player's going to peek from, I think that speaks very highly to how Smoggy and the rest of EDG are actually thinking about breaking apart these defensive setups. And it's another really good start to a match for EDG.
That cloudburst onto the recon. Does avoid all of that one and a dash back. But just before Forsaken collects that kill onto Kang Kang.
And it's still A aggression from Paper Rex, but it's much more proactive. Forsaken dropped down to 1 health.
Obviously been watched as well, just that mid approach.
And that was
playing there a lot.
Yeah, that was held on the lurk. Last time he went up tube, this time underneath. And how does Smoggy and Nobody play this?
Take flight. That's the question.
Dangerous position to drone from. It's only Smoggy watching. Really now Smoggy trying to work off the back of the drone.
But entirely doable, I think. Position is known. They know at the bottom side of tube here. Nobody. Right through. Recon's gonna be really easy. He wallbanked him. That's oh my goodness.
What a play.
And Nobody has been elite in the online stage, but now a mighty task ahead of him. No bullets left. That Prowler just about latching on to his heels. 30 seconds remaining. Players are low.
30 seconds
Has
left.
to try and isolate a fight on both of them. A single bullet will do it.
A single whiff, a breath onto Benkai and Forsaken would take them down.
Look at this play. Back of his mind. He has shown phenomenal game sense and mechanical ability. He contact plays towards A. Here's the footsteps. 10 seconds remaining.
Left.
No need for a headshot, but delivers it anyway. And he has his ult to play off, a shock dart, a recon dart. Nobody is so intelligent in these situations, and he is outplaying Paper Rex right now.
It's down to this. Forsaken versus the newcomer to the stage. Honestly, just the slightest bit of damage will do it. It's all about timing here. It's all about timing. Back to back. Where are the players playing up the ropes? I don't believe it! And a shot is found! An ace to clutch it through! Welcome to champs!
What a play! Nobody, this is his map. This is his playground. His Sova here is phenomenal. Managing to pick off Jing to start things out. Grabs the kill onto Vi as well. And then this masterful clutch. Sure, on 2 players with barely a shred of health, but the way he played around the map was second to none. And Paper Rex forced to take a timeout once more, very, very early in the map. EDG are getting off to hot starts. And Paper Rex are forced to adapt. Brent, they've thrown an aggressive setup. But one of the stats that jumped out to me actually about Nobody, out of the, what do we have, 80 players in the tournament or something?
Yeah.
He's in the 7th place for damage per duel. He's outputting huge amounts of damage even when he loses duels against players. His aim is fantastic and he takes such smart fights. Able to put his team in positions to succeed.
Bit of that early aggression. Fast control of B main. Orb going to be propped up. In fact, Mindfreak's even playing inside of this one. Spam might do the trick on the half by here with the Stinger in play. Pops over the top of it. His orb is going down. He is isolated, but still gets away with it. Just the one on line. Forsaken's got the knives. How do you not get punished there? The wall over the top, this angle. Slightly ajar. It's going to be able to find this one, but now the Hunter's Fury to try and supplement it. Pushes it through, nobody. Just pre-firing at all the different angles. And he gets the damage. Creates the space. That late load from Haodong enough to secure it.
And that's another gorgeous set play that EDG are going to run. Nobody once more setting up space for the rest of his team as Haodong goes for a lurk. There is thought behind the play here, for sure.
Because
look at the chaos that's created within the PaperX ranks as they had a 4-stack waiting to collect. All 5 players at that point.
Every burst of the Hunter's Fury using to clear an angle. Push the players into Haodong.
And EDG actually look a little bit uncoordinated in terms of how they're getting the spike down on B, but they're being able to create enough pressure in mid that doesn't matter. PaperX are being asked some serious questions right now, but with guns back in hands, Jing opting for a more passive approach to the A defense. I think they've spotted where he's hiding though.
They suspect this one, I think. Breaking down portions of the wall. This is where Jing is in a lot of trouble. He's isolated. With shots like this, Kangang is leading the charge for his team.
He always is.
Bit of resin play though, a bit of disrespect being shown, but that's off the back of these footsteps being heard. Straight through mid now into orange. It's up to Mindfreak. What can he lock down? Is this angle going to be cleared? Updraft over the top. Information gathered. Not sure if he looked down or not, but he actually did spot out the one player. The discipline was there.
What a beautiful clear that was. I mean, that was so well played from Smoggy and Haodong in particular. And now PaperX put in a horrible position to try and clear this. A crossfire in kitchen.
Just pinstone, isn't it?
Yeah, ripping them.
Pincer play.
Don't know whether that's quite a verb, but I like it. It's all down to Divine and Forsaken. These rounds have been magic from Edward Gaming.
Just have to save these rifles.
Divine.
Away.
Almost.
Okay, they will get away with a couple of the weapons, but
this economic damage that they're doing to EDG doesn't matter.
Look at the bank.
The death from Divine is more important than any of it. PaperX managed to save a single operator, but no opportunity to get rounds on the board. And Bren, I think already our question has been answered. If we came into map 2 thinking, was it just Pearl that made EDG look close to our grand finals to Copenhagen? Nah, not at all.
Not the case.
Not the case.
They're carrying it away, a lead like this.
Even if EDG have a comeback and are able to win the map, similar to Pearl, EDG, I think, have already showcased that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best. And I don't know whether they're going to be able to pull off comebacks like that repeatedly.
No noise cues, though. This is a lot of aggression, including that haunt. Being watch Prowler over the top. Got to suspect it. Got to know that the players are there. Indeed, the players obeyed. Forsaken. No cloudburst in play. Can't cover his tracks.
Caught. Spike going down. All of the players from PaperX on the other side of the map as well. Haodong looking to pick people up.
Aggressive plays being made. The off angle, though. What?
I mean, that is a really nice play. Just flooding players into Haodong there allows them to get rifles back. Whoa! Divide!
There's no way. There's no shot. You can't be whipping this one. Still collects the kill. Down to Mindfreak.
He
Noise bait.
Has a Viper's Pit.
Yeah. Suspected he might be top there with a bit of a tap there. Now onto the spike, but this is going to be the late load. Straight through into mid. That's Chichu. Watching all the potential angles. 7 rounds now. Valorant Gaming. These guys are so in control right now. Their own destiny. Obviously, the stakes here. Early days in the group stage. Our first match of Champs 2022, but these guys are here to play.
Yeah, EDG are looking excellent. I think, you know, there's a couple of moments there where PaperX might be able to get back into the round, but look at the scoreboard. EDG is 7-1 up, and they've been able to win these anti-eco rounds. It's not like they're giving PaperX opportunities that are being capitalized on. Op the op. Out of play here as Kankan takes it up towards Belt.
And that is going to be the first kill found. What an impeccable one at that. No Mindfreak. No Viper utility to try and block off 410 or any sort of aggressive play that might come into way. And you can see there's pace once more being injected behind this one. Just trying to clear out Maze, but they don't expect that Jing could be up top here. Viper's Pit is dropped down though, so these angles are not going to be quite as clear. Jing wants to try and drop down into them anyway, wants to take the fight, but somehow, some way, Haodong once more comes through.
That is a spectacular round again from Haodong. He's a master inside the Viper's pit. He just can't be stopped.
How is he getting this much value, man? He's using a Vandal in it as well. All the traces revealing his positioning.
But it doesn't matter because every shot's a headshot for Haodong.
Just robotic in terms of aim. Look at this guy.
Yeah. He looks fantastic inside there. And honestly, Brent, when I've been watching Edward Gaming, I would tell you Haodong is probably their weakest mechanical player.
Sure.
Maybe Chichu, but their weakest mechanical player is still better than maybe a third of the players in the tournament. Yeah. EDG's skill was never in question. This is a stacked roster coming out of China. And Haodong right now, 11-5. I mean, both Haodong and Chichu have found moments to put the team on their back. Haodong with his IGLing, with his performance, with his ults. Chichu with the clutches on map 1. It's been an all-round effort. And EDG are running away with things here.
Forcing another timeout here out of PaperX.
Brent, what would this match have looked like with a full roster?
Life was playing.
What on earth? Obviously, never a question that, well, maybe we'll get the answer later in the tournament, actually. But for now, purely speculation. But this should be, in theory, a weakened version of EDG. Yeah. Who knows how much time Smoggy's had to practice with them. Of course, listed as a sub and traveled with them to Istanbul, so they must have been somewhat prepared to run him. But this is spectacular. Just for context, EDG are putting the hurt on PaperX more so than even FPX did in the finals on Xbox. You know, this is a world-class performance coming out from EDG right now.
Those are the questions we had for this team. How are they going to be competing against the top dogs? Well, that 8-1 scoreline. So quite comfortable.
And they're actually playing quite controlled on these defaults too. EDG leaving not just Kangkang to watch over towards A, but multiple players. Was that just to spam through the smoke there? I mean, Benkai deleted.
And still pressure applied, but Kangkang, I mean, this guy just creates diamonds. You try and force the issue.
And he just goes for more, doesn't he?
Just relentless aggression. Willing to play confidently, take the risks, why not? Even against that half buy.
When you're looking at Kangkang, Brent, he's the most active player at Champions, right? That means he takes the most fights out of any player in the tournament. Number 2 is Jing, number 3 is Forsaken, and Kangkang is still so willing to take these kind of fights. Obviously, this is an anti-eco round, but we've seen it all match so far.
Yeah. Honestly, as well, I was thinking, out of all these teams as well, which team is going to be most well-equipped for dealing with the kind of fundamentals that Edward Gaming love to have on display? It would have been PaperX in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, PaperX, FPX, these kind of teams. But there's Divide getting the better end out of Kangkang as he goes for the widest swing with his attack operator. Perhaps this is the round where EDG might be getting a little overconfident, but listen, I can't blame them. They're 9-1 up currently. And the res brings Kangkang back online anyway. Puts him back on the line.
Well, that's going to be a push down for a tube. Forsaken is dealt with.
And there's never a hole in this default, at least not one that PaperX can find. They exist on the map for sure, but it feels like EDG have a great read on where PaperX's players are going to try and challenge, which areas of the map they're prodding and poking.
Spam with the Vandal, fearless man.
Yeah, and that's Haodong pinging out the position that Mindfreak is normally holding the smoke from. These players are learning so quickly on the global stage.
Contact plays on contact plays. This time it's Devi's turn apparently to try and work his way through down into tube it again. Just about brushing each other's backs, aren't they?
And the pit that's been used from Mindfreak getting nothing. Haodong finding the timing on everybody through mid. Apart from Devi. But this is brought to a 3v2 where once again EDG have site control. And apart from a couple of rounds early on in the half, they've been able to manipulate these defenders so well to always being set up on the angles first.
Intelligent from Mindfreak to be able to catch the one player out, but not quite. Edward Gaming not sleeping at the wheel, are they? The instantaneous trade, that is going to be the 10th round for them. Now we're getting into this last round of the half here, Josh.
I have not seen a half this dominant since map 1 of the Grand Finals, where the team that won Copenhagen destroyed PaperX on Bind.
Yeah.
And that, at least, there's some logic behind it, because PaperX's comp is very, you know, unidimensional, one-dimensional on Bind in some senses. It has to push you. This map, they're running a normal comp. EDG is just plowing them.
You want to
Standard play.
Let's play.
Draft as well, cuts up those angles, knives in play on top of it. Using a drone to clear through. No stranger to this one, obviously.
On the other side of the map, Forsaken and Jing will not be deterred. Yeah, they're pushing aggressively again, even though normally EDG have 2 players watching for this. PaperX are getting good information on the other side of the map.
I'll say, nobody is one away from his ult.
Here.
Well, Kill will do it. Now that Viper fuel back up. It's going to be the snake bite drop down and an updraft play all the way up close and personal. Taking position into this. Howlong's pushing forwards. Jing should not really be favoured there. The fight's still being taken, but a Nightfall on top of it. That's going to be pushing the players back and giving a bit of space now for Jing.
They know that Jing's behind. And Forsaken being able to win the jet battle has given his team a massive advantage. Are EDG going to go through a double push through the smoke? Just a single tap from Howlong, trying to trigger out some kind of response. But it's PaperX with 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's an honestly dominant half, dominant finish here from Edward Gaming, despite the fact PaperX were able to get that last one under their belt. An absurd series of events. What are we going to be seeing here, Desk? Break us all down.
Thank you very much, Bren. And a sideshow, what are we seeing here, Achilles? What are we seeing?
It is the pure, unadulterated chaos and madness that I was talking about. This is just absolutely wild plays coming through. But something that doesn't really shock me, the draft. That's what shocked me. I think that if you have Haven open, that is a map that you should willingly be picking against EDG. Everything else is a little bit more up in the air. Icebox is absolutely one that I would have strayed away from. They played this against Onslayers in the LCQ in East Asia, and again, nobody ace on Sova. He just does it again. It's incredible.
Yeah, and they're so good on this map, and that's despite the fact that they're playing with a substitute. They pull Smoggy in last second. He 1-for-1 fills the role, and he's been looking incredible here on Icebox. EDG have not skipped a beat in the coordination or in this guy's performance as an individual.
Yeah, let's talk about Smoggy, because we expected Life to be playing Jet on this map. But Achilles, what have you made of his role on Jet?
So far from Smoggy, honestly, kind of across both maps, is that he is playing serviceably for what his team needs. They don't need Smoggy to come in and have a Life-esque performance. Everybody else on the team is so good to be able to pick up where there are some moments of slack, but they just needed him to be serviceable, and he is absolutely doing that and a little bit more on top.
Yeah, and I mean, looking towards this second half now, no, don't be distracted by the
That's my
Phoenix.
gift to Benkai.
That's from you.
Yeah, that's from me.
That's so sweet, but it's not sweet right now for the PaperX fans because it is looking grim for them. Only 2 rounds thus far. Their attacking side can struggle on this map sometimes. I think with the Fade, they're going to struggle to be able to counter out the operators on the other side. They're going up against a Jet and a Chamber comp. EDG can throw aggression. They can hold with the ops. It's a really powerful defensive side. I don't really see a world bar some crazy PaperX magic where they can come back.
Yes or no? Do they come back into this?
No.
Okay, well, the desk says no. Sideshow and Brent, what do you guys think?
It's going to take the pistol round, I think, to start things off for any sort of comeback on this map. It'll take the pistol round.
I mean, if you think they're going to come back, you might be taking the pistol round as well. I think that we are set up here for a fantastic map 3.
Yeah.
You know, as Achilles is saying on the desk, Haven is one of those maps that I would have also expected PaperX to go for, and PaperX have the advantage on. But who knows with this? I wasn't expecting Icebox to be this one-sided.
Yeah, honestly, would have said it on, I think, both the maps that we've seen so far, but all that pressure that's being applied just through the choke point, that's going to force out the horns and the wall as well, portions of it being broken off. In fact, the killer already being found with Smoggy falling.
There goes Smoggy. The pistol ace sub that EDG have brought in has been very good in these kind of rounds.
Still trying to take it. Okay.
And Divide just about being able to pick up the second one.
This is what you're going to see from Edward Gaming, is that they are not going to be afraid still to get straight into the action. Kills being found backwards, forwards, this way, that way, with the wall dropped up.
Player standing.
Looking away across now, all up to Chichu. Still being watched off, but players are low enough here that there is a possibility. It's going to be that double face, though, that eventually shuts it down, and so the pistol round is a reality.
Yeah. For EDG, I don't think you need to be doing anything crazy here, no force buy or anything like that. You have such a massive lead. But now, if you want to talk about the comeback being a possibility here, I mean, take a look at this as well. Smoggy's last official match, July, as a member of Weibo Gaming. So he's not normally a player for this team. That's the other part that I was talking about earlier. He's not somebody that's been in and out of EDG, a long-time sub. He's somebody that they've got in at the last second for Istanbul and found fantastic success so far in this map, in this match.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk, though, about the potential for a comeback during this, I hope, short technical pause.
Listen, it had to happen at some point, Josh.
It did, it did. Well, I'm glad it's here, though. But the PaperX attacking side, in general, not specific to Icebox, but in general, is very good. It's one of the big areas that they have a massive advantage over EDG, usually, the attack side. But that's about delivering bonus rounds. That's about being able to manipulate EDG and get entry picks as well. A lot of those things have not really been going their way over the course of this entire series. And it was a short tech pause. I knew
it was.
Super quick.
Good job. You didn't curse it. As soon as you said that, I was like, why did you? Why did you? But listen, we're getting back into it.
So these kind of rounds, a good opportunity to take a look at how EDG are defending. So it's a bit of a multi-purpose Viper wall over on B that Haldong is throwing down.
Playing fast and loose at the positioning, though. Looks like they've already rotated a lot of the bodies over towards this one side. Can they try and take the fight? The answer is yes. That's going to be a trade. In fact, another one just underneath belt. Just underneath the rafters, I should say. Still looking for a couple more with the pistols. The Jesus just running and gunning, man.
A mind freak. He didn't have a weapon until just now.
It's done the mind freak.
What a thrifty! And that has put the nail in the coffin, Brent. If there was any hope of a comeback, it's gone now. It's gone.
I mean, just completely unexpected. You asked me to predict this match as well.
Look at the skill involved here. I mean, EDG are never out of these kind of rounds.
I love this as well, though. The play, when they're on this eco round, play fast and loose at the positioning.
Yeah.
Chuck the bodies towards the site that you think that they're leaning towards. You know? Trade it out, try and play for it.
And listen, a lot of teams do that. That's not specific to how EDG are playing. To me, it's the consistency of shots being hit that's absurd.
Yeah.
And the fact they're keeping it up, winning the duels against one of the best teams we have in the world. There's Smoggy getting a bit too aggressive without support, however.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a showcase, honestly, of maybe the gap with Life not playing. Because Smoggy was out in the open there. There was no one covering that belt angle. Chichu does not play here. Well, the Horn spotted him, and the C's on top of it. Latches him in position, and it's set up Forsaken beautifully. 2 kills to open it up now.
Uh-oh.
Play and weave inside that Viper's orb.
And that could have been an opportunity had Haldong found 2. But left to Kankan, not going to happen.
Yeah.
PaperX have another lifeline with which to play. EDG, though, is still going to be able to buy up possibly into the next round. Not great credits by any measure, but
saving, right? Yeah.
They could go for something mad with a force buy where Kankang's using his headhunter bullets and stuff, but I think always the better option to play safe when you have such a lead. The opportunities are going to present themselves. However, good utility usage coming out from Benkai there to clear the Jenny position. Excellent entrying from Forsaken. And I think if there's any hope of a comeback, the attacking first duels are going to be what decides it. Forsaken, Jing need to be so sharp with their entries. And coming into this tournament, Brett, Kankang has been destroying first duels. This is absurd, but he's been winning 2/3 of his opening duels. No one else in the tournament comes even close. Most people are around 50%.
Sure.
Every half, Kankang averages a 3-to-1 KD in terms of first duels.
Yeah.
And no one else is close in the tournament. But the advantage that PaperX has is that they have Forsaken and Jing to try and take those back.
They're being supported well.
Yeah,
So Benkai's utility as well
that sets him up for...
Supplemented the A push.
You don't have to just go for the raw aim duels. Of course you don't.
Yeah, precisely.
But PaperX are going to be asked to do almost the impossible here in recovering 7 rounds in a row on their attack side and making that timeline look like a joke by the end of it.
This is why things might get a little bit more difficult as well. Obviously, the time might be taken for the next round. Riot Gaming are going to be playing for this one. 2 hero rifles.
Bring them down.
And a heavy presence in mid, actually, watching this one. It's going to be that clash, I think, a bit of a battle taking place. Yes, indeed. Straight through tube. That's Smoggy. He's rattling off the shots. He's going to be healed himself up as well. Collects another one for his troubles.
Already Kankan on the push, though.
Hey, up. Oh, my goodness. Coverage needs to be in play. You don't want to be using that weapon.
Yeah, good luck being able to execute the flank with the shorty now. Headhunter bullets expended. What? No, what? I don't think Devi intended to go for that one.
Yeah, that's an unusual one. Still, they're going to be able to get space gained onto that A side, but they have handed over the weaponry, at least exchanged here and there. No more rifle taken out of the hands of him.
No charges.
And it looks like a position where Jing should get punished, and he does Jing things again and cleans them both up.
That's a wild round.
But now EDG are going to have rifles back in their hands.
I was curious, honestly, as well, whether or not they were going to be trying to save a bit of their money as well, get the operators online on the defensive side, but no, just opting into the rifles being played.
Yeah, Kankan opts a lot more than Devi or Forsaken on Paper X. Even if you combine Devi and Forsaken together, Kankan still uses the operator more than they do.
Yeah.
Opting not for it in this case, but a tour de force out for Devi on the attack side.
You want to play,
doesn't normally
let's
play these kind of situations too aggressively, more just to support the rest of his team. But Devi has the spike heading towards A right now, and it is such an aggro setup from EDG.
What face from EDG? Kankan takes the fight, nobody's trying to bail him out, but at least there is the swing. Forsaken's able to trade it, but you never expect the follow-up. Smoggy's still up top on Bell, all the knives expended. Forsaken's just trying to get the hell out of there.
2 players up. Jing, if he finds a kill, will have the res back online. Bodies all over the place. And Chichu on the fast flank.
The angle. Tap of the rifle, repositioning, that's a spike drop down.
That's a res, but that also gives time for Chichu to start working his way forwards and deny these bodies. Sorry, apologies, misreading that one. Thought that was Jing that we were watching. It's Forsaken, of course.
He's managed to grab the spike. After this fight, it's being taken! Bit of run and gun in play! Add on. He forces the favourable fight. He doesn't go down. That's going to be that 12th round here for Icebox. One more will do it.
EDG have just been... that defensive setup definitely bodes taking a look at again. They had an aggressive Viper smoke that Smoggy was inside of, and Smoggy is then able to swing out on Belt off the back of everyone else's aggression. That is such a good defensive setup for A aggression that I haven't seen other teams using. EDG bringing fresh ideas to the table at their first time at a global event. And they're just looking masterful.
Dash to the side. That's a knives in play.
Fearless.
Impeccable crosshair placement from Smoggy.
And absolutely fearless. I mean, just not worried about Forsaken running into him there at all.
Just anticipating the wide swing as well.
And that's a first death. Paper X cannot afford it. They need 7 rounds in a row clean.
The res, but it's so far out in the open. They're walling for it.
Oh!
Breaks a portion.
Brutal!
But the spam is there. There is going to be coverage in play. Recon against the side. They heard the drop. Mindfreak's going to be closer towards me. It's going to be that double swing now. Paper X have to be clean with the fundamentals. Have to be clean with the gunplay. They are coming out at least on top of that one short engagement. There's still a minute left. They could pump the brakes if they wanted to, but it looks like they're opting to just try and take the fight right into the barrel of Kankan. And he's pushing back up, re-clearing into the position. 2 of the players left standing. All of these liberties being taken. This could be it, the final blow. And it's just down to the singular player. Devi cannot stand up against it. Map number 3 is on the cards.
What a play, what a map. And the questions start to get answered. EDG are for real. No matter which way this third map goes, over on Haven. And the analyst desk was saying it leans towards Paper X, but it doesn't matter in my head which way it goes. A 13-5 victory on Icebox shows me that EDG have got it. They are able to bring it against the best teams in the tournament.
Yeah. Just that bit of nuance extra on top of the raw mechanical ability that they've been showing over and over and over again.
And we were talking about maybe the aggression from EDG being a bit reckless. That was the other way around. Yeah. They were the ones, it was EDG that were pumping the brakes. EDG that were manipulating defender rotations. And actually it was Paper X whose attack rounds looked a bit more one-dimensional. Yeah. Always just leaning 5 players towards A. Never an ability to pivot once you got to the mid-round.
So many different looks to well. EGG were pulling out.
What a nice play.
I mean, nobody has just been an absolute star. This is a particular, Icebox, a map that he is more than comfortable with. Players are feeling it. The confidence is there. Momentum is on their side as we head into map number 3. It's going to be Haven.
And despite the fact that this is just an opening game in groups, the first game of Champions, it does feel like there's still stakes on the line.
Yeah, high-octane gameplay. We're going to go to a short break, and on the other side of things, of course, again, Analyst Desk will break down all the action and set up that critical map number 3 in our opening match, so don't go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings.